Before I start this top 5, reasons list, I actually want to give a shout out to a pair of groups that recently sent me some material. Hemina, first off, sending us their new album, Nebula. I mean, this is a fantastic looking cover. This is really something that, damn, cool. I know a lot of you have wanted me to talk about my favorite, metal album covers, or speak about that. That might be enough in order to really get me to do it. And then, of course, Isles. I just reviewed their album 4:45 a.m. recently on the channel. You should definitely check that out if you haven't yet. They sent me their first 2 albums, The Yearning and In Sudden Walks. This is really, really cool stuff. I thank you guys so very much. But now it's time to get on to something that isn't CD-based, in fact. Unless you've been hiding under a rock, or if your local, CD store or music store doesn't sell what we're about to speak about, you would probably have no idea that vinyl has made a serious comeback in the past couple of years. This video may actually feel antiquated, considering this has been a movement that's been happening for, quite a while, but at the same time, it's one that definitely needs to be talked about. Because ever since my store, the store that I work at, which is a For Your Entertainment in southwestern Pennsylvania, became an official vinyl store earlier this year, and really ever since we started selling used vinyl last year, this has definitely been a real hotbed for the area. It's something that has really encouraged a lot of new buyers of vinyl, some new collectors, as well as finally giving some people who are already collecting vinyl a real reason to come into the store and see what was there. We sell both new and old, but what are a couple of reasons to get vinyl in the year 2014, where we have, CDs such as this one, where you could still go to your local bargain place and find, cassette tapes, or maybe even still be able to press them. Or let's even get into that nasty, nasty word of MP3, where you could just get everything online, download it, iTunes, iPods, bitches. Why would you want something like this? I'm about to tell you 5 reasons exactly why you want this. Number 5 is going to be something that's about 50% true, 50% kind of annoying, and that's the pricing. The pricing on vinyl is definitely not cheap whenever it comes to the new hobby right now. In fact, there are a lot of new albums that you can purchase on vinyl for anywhere between $19.99, but some can range all the way up to $39.99 to $49.99, depending on whether or not it's an import. Now that might seem like a real strain, considering we're living in an age where you can purchase an album on iTunes for $12.99 and be done with it. But at the same time, I hold up a copy of Ritchie Blackmore's Rainbow because finding old vinyl and Elder Scrolls of music on vinyl right now is cheaper than ever before. In fact, that's stuff that you can find at local stores for anywhere between, a couple of bucks all the way up to maybe $10 at the very most expensive. And most of them you're going to find priced just about the same. So there's an easy chance that you're going to walk in, find a box full of vinyl that is all priced at the same point, regardless of what it is. And the reason for that is because of the commonality of some of these albums, for one, and for two, really whenever it came to some albums, there were a lot that were produced. Some stores will also do that because they don't have individual, used numbers for all of these albums, my store being one of them. This is instead one where doing it in a very generalized fashion is just a lot easier to do, and there's multiple price points, but in most cases you're going to find them for one set point. This is definitely something that can help you boost your collection, especially whenever you consider that used vinyl, just like used anything else, will usually carry the most specials that have, the most impact on your dollar. Nothing like having a buy one, get one free event, or, a buy two, get the third for $1 in order to really stimulate your desire to really boost your collection up and get a lot of great old music. But the new vinyl is worth it as well. You might think that the price point is relatively ridiculous, but it's on a nice, heavier material, and there's a lot of re-release albums, a lot of things that are coming out that perhaps weren't on vinyl before, or the last time they were on vinyl were whenever they were released. And whenever you think about Undertow, that's close to 20 years ago. Trying to find an original copy of that is really, really difficult. And to be honest, that Undertow right there that I just showed you by Tool was very well priced. It was $14.99, and that was definitely worth it. It was a steal. Now, whenever it comes to new ones, such as a Dark Throne's Underground Resistance, yeah, I had to drop probably $25, but it was worth it because not only is that cover art just fucking worth it, the album is too. So this is definitely something that makes vinyl very accessible, even though it is a little pricey at times. Number 4, the number 4 reason why you would want to collect vinyl in 2014 is in the pride. The pride is something that really comes with something we're going to discuss a little bit later on. However, having a vinyl collection does constitute the same level of pride as you would with any collection. And really, diversification is something that you could lump in with this as well. Imagine saying to all of your friends who perhaps have a CD collection or, an MP3 collection on their iPod, well, I have CDs, I have cassettes, I even have vinyl. You have all of these different formats, and it really showcases your love for music. It really showcases just how much you really appreciate the art. And plus, that pride also comes in the find. It comes in the search. It comes in trying to locate that really hard to find vinyl, that one that has really escaped your grasp, that one that you've never been able to pick up, maybe because you've never found. So there's definitely a chase aspect to it that really makes it very creative and very interesting. And this is something that, for all of you people who are achievement hunting in video games, you should definitely love achievement hunting and finding vinyl. Finding the ones that you're looking for. If it's something where you're willing to seek out and do ridiculous tasks in order to, get a 2-second representation of congratulations, you did something, this is something that has a little bit more value. But achievement hunting in video games is pretty cool, so, I'm not necessarily trying to take a pot shot there. But it is something where having something like this is just really, really nice. The third reason is the interactivity. Now, interactivity is something that's not going to be present with every vinyl, but this interactivity is something that I feel is going to be coming. So you're going to really be you're going to be seeing a movement really occur. With the newest Jack White album, Lazaretto, you saw a lot of neat little things that would happen with the vinyl. I unfortunately do not have a copy of that on vinyl yet because the damn thing keeps selling out. It's an Ultra LP where you can listen to things in 3 different speeds and you have 3 different things that can happen. So essentially you're getting a different experience. And there's instructions on how you're supposed to do that, apparently, and in reality, even if there weren't, these cryptic motherfuckers out there would find it. I feel like this is going to be happening more and more because it's an interactive, very fun, very strange new thing to really accomplish, in which you can really put some messages in music, whether it be through backmasking or whatever you would want to do, or by changing up the speed, in order to have a really unique experience. Imagine hearing some of your favorite songs at a different speed, slowed down, sped up, warped a little bit. Essentially, that's what drove the rap community. They basically wanted to take samples from songs and warp them a little bit, scratch on a record a little bit. And whenever you think about it, rap music's really big right now. Shouldn't vinyl be something that everybody wants, considering that's where some of the bare bones roots of rap came from? You would think. But now everything's handled so much using Pro Tools and other various online or computer-based tools that aspect of it is really for old school practitioners, people that really still enjoy that subculture of hip-hop music, and something that I feel, maybe with the boosting of vinyl coming back, may also attract a real revival in that. It has been close to 30 years after all. In fact, it has been 30 years, so let's get on it. We definitely need some of that in our life. Number 2, the community. The vinyl community, to an outsider, probably appears to be a bunch of smug assholes that have their heads shoved so far up their own tailbone that they're practically sniffing what they just ate 5 hours ago. But in reality, these are really chill people. These are good people to really communicate with. And for those that act like purists, they were once just like you. You have to understand that getting into vinyl is not something that's necessarily an easy thing to do. You have to buy a turntable, just like you'd have to buy an iPod or a stereo, and then you have to find music that you like that you want to have on vinyl. If you're not a fan of old music, then perhaps it's not something for you, but wait, they have the new stuff on there as well. The community is literally there to help you out, and there's still great individuals that love to trade things, that are willing to really barter, or at least point you into the right direction to other music that sounds exactly, or, has some minor differences, but is similar to that which you enjoy. This is a community that loves vinyl because they really love music. They have an obsession. They have something that really drives and fuels them to find these things, and really has a deep respect for it. And you're very seldom going to find somebody who just collects vinyl because they think at one point in time their beat up, dusty copy of a Three Dog Night album is going to net them $400 on eBay. And considering what art is actually going for on eBay, that might actually happen, and that would be ridiculous. But At the same time, these are people that want this stuff because they want it, and they're willing to, find some more of it and trade it with you if they have it. I know that a lot of vinyl that I've been able to accumulate over the years has come through going to flea markets and yard sales and, striking deals with individuals that are looking to get rid of some things that perhaps they had doubles of. One individual in particular was more than happy to give many of his doubles and triple albums to my girlfriend and myself, which definitely helped the collection and definitely helped expand the horizons of my music collection. There's definitely a lot of Genesis that I didn't have before that he was able to hook me up with, as well as Steely Dan, which are two very killer bands. But the number one reason why you should definitely become a vinyl collector in 2014 is just that, the collection. The collectability of these things. I know I just said that somebody's going to think that their album's going to be worth $400 on eBay. But collections are based around collecting them, having them, seeking them out, actively going for that hunt, actively trying to find that long, elusive album that you've never been able to find or have never seen before on wax. It's like finding your first Tool album and immediately wanting to find the rest of them. And no dollar amount is off limits. Or it's traveling outside of, state lines and going to the only record shop that you found in another city and finding this album right here from Earth. And then immediately wanting to go back to that store, to literally go 3.5 hours out of my way just to go to that store to find other things that perhaps I didn't have a chance to get whenever I was there before. It's sifting through, indie vinyl shops, ma and pa stores, or even some of the chains that are starting to carry them, just to see what you can find, just to see what you could really, really locate for yourself. It's about having, CD copies, cassette copies, and vinyl copies of albums. It's about really having that complete experience. And really, it may sound to a lot of you to be really, really freaking nerdy and really fucking dorky. But if you're in this community, if you love this community, if this is something that you really love about your life, music, it's something to really consider. It's something that really will just bring another element of joy and pride to your life. There's something about looking at these things. Some strange, mystic, hypnotic sensation that you get from looking at a vinyl like this. It's like literally looking at an artist's work in a complete fashion. Looking at the artwork that is meant to characterize and represent the music that's encased within. Something that doesn't always do a very good job in doing such a thing. Others, which lead to some perplexing conclusions, but others that really seem to hit the nail on the head. Angels of darkness, demons of light. Whenever you take a look here, you have a lot of things that represent the darkness. What about on number 1? Maybe a little bit more gearing toward the light. That duality. What about Undertow? Something that's so simple, but yet at the same time bred so much controversy that in actuality, in other stores, all this is in the front is a barcode. Whether or not that's ever made it to a vinyl edition, I think it has. And if it has, I really want it. Or whenever you consider something such as Ritchie Blackmore's Rainbow. I'm going back to the only 3 that I have next to me because they all paint my illustrative point beautifully. If you didn't know who Rainbow was or who Ritchie Blackmore was, and you knew about the negative connotation that's sometimes associated with rainbows, which is wild bullshit anyway, you may not be willing to want to get this. But for those who know Ritchie Blackmore, for those who know Ronnie James Dio, who did at the time and who do now, they look at this like it's gold. They look at this like they just put a saucer into the river and out came nuggets of fresh gold. My question to you, who's watching this video, is actually why you aren't considering, or why you're questioning whether or not you should start a vinyl collection. Like I said, you do have to get a turntable in order to play them. And yeah, at times, they can seem a little bit pricey. But there's a tremendous upside. the tremendous upside in the collection aspect, in the collective world. There's a tremendous community that's growing by day. This is literally something that is taking the world by storm once again, for the second time. That same thing that your parents probably used to listen to the Beatles or Elvis Presley, or even some of your parents, if they're even younger still, perhaps were listening to bands such as Heart or Tears for Fears, is now back again after really a period of sleep and ready to become the mammoth, the juggernaut that it was once again. Don't believe me? Half of the sales of Jack White's latest album came on vinyl. I actually set a 1-week vinyl record. If you don't think it's coming back, you're wrong. And if you don't think that you want to be in on this, you're missing out. So I encourage you, I really do encourage each and every one of you to rethink your stance on vinyl and rethink your stance on really getting into it. Because this is a terrific hobby that goes right along with your music addiction, your music love. If you truly say that music saved your life, which I think is kind of a weird statement anyhow, then vinyl should be a part of your life. It should almost be like therapy. And this is your schedule for therapy. These 8 tracks, or in this case, these 9 tracks, that's your therapy schedule for however long that the album is. What are some of your favorite vinyls if you're collecting vinyl already and have continued to watch this video until our proper conclusion here? For those of you who have not started collecting vinyl, what are some that you're now going to seek out based around the video? Or what are some that you always thought, that'd be kind of cool, but never actually thought about doing it? For those of you who really don't know where to start, ask somebody. We'll be more than willing to help. And if you want to see more vinyl, more of my collection, which is very old for the most part, but at the same time really, really cool, give the video a thumbs up. Let's give it a threshold of, 500 thumbs ups. If there's 500 of them, I'll do a full vinyl collection tour, which will be really cool. I'll see you guys later. Don't forget to subscribe. You guys have a good one.